Hi, this is Cameron back again with another Vinyl Finds video. This should be number 38. Now I'm recording from a different position and on a different machine today, so I'm hoping it'll turn out fine. And working with the lighting a little bit. What happened is my wife and I reorganized our dining room, which meant my usual sitting area for my computer was kicked out, and will probably get moved up to my music room, which has a darker lighting. So I'm not sure if I'm going to continue making videos on this laptop or whether I'm going to go back to using my regular computer where I feel more comfortable. Anyways, this is my second time making this video because I messed up the first time. I did the complete video, it looked nice, and then when I went to stop the recording, I instead erased the whole thing and deleted the whole video. So let me get started right away. Okay, first up is a Canadian folk artist from Quebec, Canada, Louis Pitou Boudreau, violoneux, violins, music and traditional dance from Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean. This is a double album on Tamanoir label from 1978. I really like the Tamanoir label. It's great for folk from Quebec from the 70s and early 80s. Okay, next up is a well-known folk artist who populates the delete bins all over Canada and the United States, Oscar Brand. It's his 55th album called X from 1976. And Oscar Brand's originally from my city, Winnipeg, and I had a chance to catch up with him a few years ago when he was featured at our 40th anniversary folk festival in Winnipeg when he was about 90 years old. So he still is alive at 96. I guess he lives in the New York area. So let me just show. The front cover is just a blank white cover, and the back is he is featured with the other artists. So these first batch of albums are all about $1 each. I got them at Goodwill's and Salvation Army and local record shop. Okay, this was a real fine Esquibel Latinesque album from 1962. It was sealed for 55 years. I bought it and I cracked it open as it should be after 55 years of sitting, and so it's quite a clean album given that it was sitting for 55 years and played very well. So Esquibel is a Mexican orchestral and arranger and all the rest, and he does sort of plays around with the tricks of the trade of stereo recording to contrast it with mono recording. He has music bouncing back and forth between the speakers. So here we go. Latinesque of Esquibel and his orchestra, 1962. Okay, another artist that I had heard of but never listened to their music before. This is a best of from 1972 of the Greenbrier Boys. They're doing a lot of bluegrass, some of their own recordings and some recordings from other artists. John Harold's the lead vocalist. This is on Vanguard. Next up, a soul funk and almost disco-y album from 1980, Kellyan, Off the Way on RCA Victor, or just RCA. Singer-songwriter Carole King, Thoroughbred from 1975-76. Free album I got. Once you spend $5, you get a free album for every $5 you spend. So I got John Clemmer, Lifestyle, Living and Loving from 1977. decent jazz from the 70s. I had just read an older Shindig magazine article on Ian Matthews, who I've seen once at our West End Cultural Center, maybe 25 years ago. Ian Matthews is from Fairport Convention, Matthews Southern Comfort. This was a folk rock album he put out in 1977 called Hit and Run. Again, this is a free album. Third free album I got, Michael Murphy, or better known as Michael Martin Murphy, Swans Against the Sun. 1976, some country rock. An artist I'm really enjoying with her pop from the 50s as well as some country music is Patti Page, the Waltz Queen, pardon me. This came out in 1957 on Mercury. Canadian folk artist, singer-songwriter, 1972, Bob Ruzicka. What the World's All About from 1972. So I know that he had a variety show at the same time in 1972 in which up and coming and popular artists at the time like Stan Rogers, Valdy were featured. This is on Signpost label. Okay, a good way to get started on older world music is to buy the None Such Explorer series. Here I have an example, Fiestas of Peru, Music of the High Andes, recorded in Ayacucho, Chuschi, and Paucartambo in 1968 and came out in 1972. So it's flute music, brass music, trying to think what other kinds of music is featured on it. But anyways, it's quite interesting. Harp music, yeah. Obviously, you can't go wrong with None Such Explorer series. I have quite a number of them from around the world. Next up from Tangerine Dream, we have Edgar Froese, Pinnacles from 1983. It's a white cover, so it's a little dirtier than I like, but for $3. So starting from that Fiestas in Peru album, the rest of these were all $3 at our chamber orchestra sale yesterday. So it's always the last Saturday of the month. And of course, the difference between $1 and $3, I get a little pickier on the $3 albums. Okay, some mid-19th century classical music from the United States by Louis Moreau Gottschalk, 1829 to 1869, recorded by Eugene Liszt, the pianist. This probably came out in the late 60s. It's classical music inspired by Creole ballads, Cuban dances, Negro songs, and caprices, it says. It's called the banjo. And so I guess he spent a lot of his life traveling through the Caribbean, I think parts of Europe, as well as he's originally from New Orleans, land of a lot of different musics like jazz and other great music from the United States. This album originally came out in '56, but this is a reissue on the Vanguard Connoisseur label. I got two Philippine albums that were sealed, and I've of course cracked the seal. Mabuhay Singers sing Pandanguhan Dahil sa Iyo and other Philippine songs. This came out in the late 60s, so sometime before 1970 on VR label. So this is traditional folk music from Philippines. I've got a lot on CD, including Mabuhay Singers. because I've traveled the Philippines 3 times on business. And here's the label. Really interesting Filipino album called Pangat Kawayan, the Singing Bamboos, who are still around 50 years later. This album came out in 1973, and it features all instruments made out of bamboo, so piano, xylophone, flute, all sorts of interesting instruments, and it's bamboo music. Another early world music label that I've been collecting from around the world, the Colonial label, dance music from Scandinavia featuring the Scandinavian music makers. Probably came out in the late 60s, don't know exactly when. Upbeat waltz music, mostly. Light, graceful. Here's the Colonial label. And then finally a fantastic Canadian folk band from the 70s called String Band. They're not the same as the Incredible String Band, but String Band, featuring Bob Boss and Marie Lynn Hammond. This is their 3rd album from 1977. I've seen them a number of times at our Folk Fest, and they're always entertaining and funny and very political, as I like my folk music. So that's all the albums. There were, I think, 18 different albums I showed you. That's all of them. Please leave your comments at the bottom and please subscribe. I look forward to hearing from you and have a good day. Bye-bye.